Hello, welcome back to Inflection Point Conversations. I'm Michelle Obeda. I'm a 3D artist and the host of this podcast. I'll be chatting with different people who are experts in various CGI fields. Together, we'll take a deep dive into one or more of the disruptive topics that have reached an inflection point in the industry. If you're enjoying this podcast, please take a moment to like, rate, and subscribe. You can also comment and give feedback. I'd love to reach more people and grow this amazing community. Today, I'm talking with Silvia Rueda. Silvia is an architect and immersive media specialist from Bogota, Colombia, blending traditional architecture with emerging technologies. With a master's in interactive design from the Bartlett UCL, she spent 7 years at Heatherwick Studio, pioneering the use of Unreal Engine and Twinmotion to enhance design workflows and explore new storytelling methods. Now, leading Understory creative studio, Silvia creates immersive installations that merge VR, AR, and digital twins with physical spaces, drawing inspiration from fungi networks and natural systems. Her work addresses urban isolation and fosters community connections through experiential design, pushing the boundaries of architecture and technology. Welcome, Silvia.
Hello, Michelle. An amazing introduction. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I've been exploring your work and it's so incredible. There's so much cool stuff to talk about. And yeah, I mean, your work with Unreal Engine and Twinmotion, I mean, I've been talking a lot about this on this podcast, and in particular, immersive experiences and VR and AR. Is all really interesting, and you've done quite a lot of work with it. Plus, you've worked on some of like one of my favorite architecture projects currently, which is Little Island, by Heatherwick. Living in New York, I take everyone I know to that place. I think it's so successful. But yeah, like kind of the inflection point being like the evolution of real-time technology and using it. Yeah, I'd love to start talking about like immersive experiences and real time. Like, how did you get into that?
Right. So, yeah, I agree. Little Island is a fantastic project. If I will be in New York living, I'm sure that I will be running every day in that project. But so basically, everything started when I am background in architecture in Colombia. If you we all know what it's studying architecture in Colombia, very traditional. So I didn't feel that I was that traditional of an architect. So when I did my master's in the Bartlett, it was like a game changer. I didn't, I was doing architecture for the body and like doing soft robotics, and I was doing a mask that was trying to curate your emotions. And then I was like, all right, yeah, architecture is more than the traditional architecture you normally get to learn, or at least I got to learn in Colombia. And then
Mm.
even my mom was like, "What are you doing? Are you still an architect?" And then I started understanding that it's architecture is more than just like a physical space. It's more of
Hmm.
yeah, like a design towards whatever you want. It can be in your body, it can be virtual, it can be even emotional. So from there, I understood that technology was playing a key role in my day-to-day work. So I could expand the boundaries as well by using immersive technology, like yeah, like real-time technology. As I will talk a bit more about that later, but yeah, using Unreal and Twinmotion, these sort of tools that are Twinmotion is very easy to learn and very easy to use. So I started to use all of these softwares, even Unity at one point, to
Hmm.
blend physical and digital. And that's
Yeah.
when I decided that yeah, I needed to pursue a career in that. But then I was very scared because I didn't know any sort of role models that were doing this. So
Hmm.
for me, it was more of carving my path and my career towards what I wanted, still understanding that my love for architecture was very vivid, but as well my love for technology and for art and for creativity. So basically, if you really like to just dig deep in a few different topics, then it's like a nice thing to do. I don't know, like just be curious. And I was
Yeah.
very curious, and I never felt that I was very traditional. So I think that was like a perfect mix to lead me where I am now. That yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still carving my way in the world.
Yeah, that's so cool. So you went from UCL, did you start working at so Heatherwick Studio straight away?
Correct. So yeah, as soon
Hmm.
as I graduated from the Bartlett, which is yeah, fantastic university, I entered into Heatherwick, which was as well like one of my biggest dream come true. Like study like working for a super creative architecture practice that as well it is run by by a designer. So like the
Hmm.
way that they think it's way more human and a bit more of a craftsmanship and very tactile. So
Yeah.
something changed in my brain as well. I started doing landscape design when I was in Heatherwick. And then there, when we realized that it was very difficult to visualize landscape, I entered into the world of real time. So
Yeah.
directly to Unreal, tried to visualize. I was doing a Revit package of landscape design for Google headquarters. And then at the evening, I was doing, they call me the virtual garden. So I was literally like
Mm.
making the plants that what
Yeah.
they were correlated in Revit inside Unreal so that we could have a high fidelity model and real-time model that we could just coordinate fully with all of the architecture, interior, facade packages, and we could
Yeah.
make design decisions depending like with the Unreal package as well, part of it. I don't know if
Yeah.
I understand, like yeah. Because normally with landscape you just leave it aside, like it's not
Yeah.
like something that is very toggled with the other package of architecture. So in this
Hmm.
case, we wanted to like make the design decisions in the beginning, and then from there, I started using Unreal and learning like yeah YouTube, and then I entered into an Unreal fellowship with Epic Games, which was wonderful. Like that was an amazing experience. I recommend everybody to do the fellowships. You get to learn Unreal for free. It's like a boot camp with very, very creative people and like very,
Cool.
very, very intelligent teachers as well. And then from
Yeah.
there, I shift a bit my role to be an immersive media specialist inside Heatherwick Studio. And then
Hmm.
there, my role was to help with the new technologies and everything related to, yeah, like VR, XR, gameplay inside Heatherwick Studio. So that's when I
Yeah.
jumped into my last project that I work in Heatherwick was the Little Island for
Yeah.
Fortnite project, which
Mm.
that was as well very, very, very incredible because it had already been built. So it was
Yeah.
very fun to work with a project that was already live in Hudson, like in the river, and you could see it,
Yeah.
and then just generate a digital twin to be able to do a gameplay with such a powerful tool that is Fortnite and Unreal for Fortnite.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's really cool. Let's go back a bit. I love how you were talking about the vegetation and the planting and the landscaping. I think that I mean I know a lot of like Heatherwick projects and lots of the projects that you've done are related a little bit like you're saying with like life and human form, but also like and it's true. It's very you know when you see architectural designs, they're normally like visualizations, they have to imagine what the planting will look like because it's maybe not there yet, or it's not going to be as big as it is, you know, when they start. And it's quite a difficult thing to do. And I think that like it's difficult thing to like imagine with just pictures. But I think that the real time, like Twinmotion and Unreal, like their animated vegetation is very easily like click and you know drop them in and suddenly it brings it to life, right? So I think that the
Exactly.
kind of living part of the project, do you feel like that was like such a big change compared to like still pictures of plants?
Completely. Like
Mm,
that was the game changer, literally.
mm,
Like because normally when you do like a CGI or even like a yeah, CGI, you will put the planting in post-production or in Photoshop, or if you render out in 3ds Max, your computer will maybe crash or at least like take, I don't know, like I don't know how many hours to render all the polygons of a plant. So there is not much like window for changing or for options.
mm,
Or yeah, you will not have a weekend if you want to do a change in landscape. So just using Twinmotion or Unreal that are like two like they have a very nice UX UI designed to just be placing plants with 1 click or 2 clicks and like
mm.
very accurate planting. So you could just drag and drop the species and 2 clicks and they will just be painted in the surface that it's already imported from Revit. So it's ultra high fidelity. It's totally correlated with the plans. And the nice part as well is that if you don't like it, because sometimes really you don't know that the combination of plants were well, or the heights, whatever, you just erase it with 1 click and change it, and then you can just make design decisions very easy. So
Yeah.
I will suggest everybody to use Unreal or Twinmotion for landscape design. Like
Yeah.
it changed our workflow completely.
Yeah. Tell me about, so I saw a video of you presenting the little island project that you brought into Fortnite. So yeah, tell me a little bit more about that, because it's such a like fun. Was it something that you did personally? Did you do it like with Heatherwick? Was it a project that they did?
Correct. So basically, they did this survey. So it was with Heatherwick. That was my last project that I worked with Heatherwick, and it was like the cherry on top of the cake, I will say. um, because I did as well some training for Twinmotion for most, like, I don't know, 60% of the people, of the designers in the studio. So we were using already the Little Island model for like the training sessions for Twinmotion. So we already had it super optimized. Everybody could just jump in and like brush some plants and so on. So we already had this digital model, basically a digital twin, and it was already constructed. They wanted to do a survey and understand a bit more in the physical life, so in Little Island, understand a
Yeah.
bit more about the project and like how people were perceiving it and so on. So
Mm. And
they
how
did,
long had it been built for at this point? Like,
I think, 5 or 3 years, something like that.
mhm.
And then, so yeah, they had the data and they wanted to present it in a creative way. Like they did have a PDF and so on. You can read about it. But then with the communication team, we thought that it was a very nice idea to integrate it into a gameplay or something that it was a bit more dynamic than reading a PDF. So in this moment, we were working as well with Space Farm. Big shout out to Space Farm. They were doing this amazing. They are doing like a small metaverse that you can just upload your models and have it in a small metaverse. So
Yeah.
we were working with them quite a lot. And then I told them, like, what do you think about trying out Unreal for Fortnite? And this was like when they launched it. I don't know, 1 year ago. I don't remember, 2 years ago. And everybody was like, yeah, let's try it, but I don't know how. I had never in my life played Fortnite, and I'm
Hmm.
like, I am a gamer, but the Fortnite for me was like, I don't know, very different. So, and I was very clear that when you think about Fortnite, it's like guns and you land in an island and you kill everybody. So it's super nice that in this case you can bespoke everything that you want to show in the island. So Unreal for Fortnite, you can just like cure down everything so that it's very friendly. Of course, we didn't want to be this sort of gameplay. What we wanted is to create a space, like some sort of treasure hunt around
Hmm.
Little Island,
That's cool.
and
Yeah.
and search for Heatherwick items around the island. And as soon as you arrive and chase and touch the item, you will find like a small knowledge or like Q&A in a way,
Mm.
survey of how many plants in Little Island are tropical or whatever. And then you have 4 options. And then if you answer right, then you will add time to your timer. So basically, you need to collect 10 items around Little Island. And if you manage to collect them and answer the correct questions, you will have a good score. So of
Mm.
course the answers are being rotated and so on, but it's super fun because we did try it out with some kids in the studio, and they were telling their parents, like, where can we buy it?
Oh,
I
that's really
really
cool.
want to learn more. And it was super
Yeah.
sweet. They are the ones that are going to play that. And as well, like, it's super interesting that kids get to learn more about a place that even a lot of people cannot go because it's in New York, or I don't know, like
Yeah.
it's more
It's
global,
an
I would say.
Yeah, just to explain to anyone who doesn't know, Little Island is a pier that was designed by Heatherwick in New York along the Hudson. And it's like one of my favorite places to take people. It's sort of like lots of, I guess, like these kind of look like kind of huge water
But
lilies of
Yeah.
pods of like different heights coming out of the water, and it creates this like this pier has got all these different levels, and it's pretty amazing because it's a big public space. For one thing, that's kind of really cool that it's public, it's stayed free in public. There's also this big amphitheater, which I don't know if you know this, but in the summer they have shows, and they're all the same price. They're all like $20 for a show, and they have like 3 or 4 shows showing through the summer, and they're very like ex kind of experimental and different and kind of cool. I've been to a couple of them last year. It's on the west side, so the sun is setting as you're there. It's beautiful, but there's like a whole park, and you can take your kids and just play in the park. Um, but the idea of experience, like making so with that in mind, it being a cool public space people in New York can go to for free, being able to put it into a video game that is a connected, like, multi-user game that anyone around the world can go and experience is again like putting this architecture, like making it available for everyone, which is a really cool idea. Was that a big intentional part of design at Heatherwick, or was that like for this project in particular? Like
Yeah, it
making
was
architecture available for people.
exactly it.
Mm.
And for it, like in my opinion, it was more for any age as well. Like
Yeah.
anybody now can, if you have ever played Fortnite or not, it's for free. Like you just download
Mm.
it in any of your softwares, your hardware, and then you can jump into it. So
You
the
don't
fact
need a game console. You can play it on your
exactly no,
PC, right?
in your phone even if you want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's very accessible. It's hopefully will encourage as well a few more people to go and visit it physically. So it's very
Yeah.
nice to have it both, like digital, a digital twin. Like let's call it like that. It is.
Digital twin, yeah.
So yeah, it's super fun. Like eventually, like I don't know, maybe Heatherwick should try to do this at this point, but it will be nice to augment the experience in the physical space. So maybe you could play, like add a digital layer, or with the Oculus, or with the Meta Quest, whatever, in the park, so you could play a video game meanwhile you're walking in the physical part, but have a digital layer on it. That will be fantastic. Like that will
Very
be
meta.
amazing. It will happen. Like we are all going to there. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you play a lot of games in VR space or like XR kind of space?
If I play games,
But
uh,
do you play games in the VR space much?
so I need to be very honest. I feel that VR is very solitary in a way. So
Yeah.
like I when we worked in a few projects in Heatherwick, when we tried VR, it was very like the client was not that convinced. What worked quite well was XR or like 360 rooms where
Hmm.
everybody's interacting with the technology.
Yeah.
But if I play, I do play the one of like the music, and you just
Oh, yeah.
uh, put some piece of music. But I prefer like literally sitting next to a mate, and then like let's go and play Mario Kart. Like this is my
Yeah.
sort of game. Even board games, like that's my game.
I think that's a really good point though with VR, because I think so I was mentioning that I worked at Squint Opera before, and actually Spaceform was being developed at the time. The guys who work on there were working, like they were part of Squint Opera, and we were making this VR experience for the Spiral, right? And that was a big thing. It was sort of hadn't been used all that much. It wasn't the Oculus, it was like the Vive. And we used Unity because before Unreal was really taking off, and Unreal really did take off after that, became like a lot easier to use. But it was a really cool experience, but then people were using headsets less and less because of this isolating feeling. And even now, I think that every time it sort of picks up a little bit, like finding other ways to show it, like a spherical screen, or at least like a panoramic screen where you can like multiple people can experience it. Like even now, I'm working for an architecture practice, and we often talk about we could make this in VR, but people don't want to put the headset on and be alone in the experience. And it's very like, it's a very weird, I think that's something that like needs to break through. The spherical screen is great, but like who has, like not many people have them available. It's not as readily available as putting an Oculus on. So I think, what do you think about like that kind of breaking that awkward transition of like making this something that can be communal, I suppose.
I agree. I agree that
Mm.
I do feel that this technology is going to reach to a point that is available for all of us to have augmented reality. Really, like so
Mm.
I do believe that in your my glasses, we are going to have just a layer of augmented reality. So this
Right.
experience of having like a hyper reality world will be a bit more normal, like more like communal, more not that solitary. So we are reaching to that. Uh, Additionally, I like having a 360 room. I will recommend everybody to have it. Of course, it's very expensive, but there are as well other few ways on how to have like an immersive room. I don't know how to explain it, even with projections or something like that, that will show like it will immerse the client. Like it,
Hmm.
I have seen the faces of a client when they're in these spaces and they love the project, and they are sometimes the architecture is hard to understand in a way, like in scale, you don't know exactly like
Yeah.
where
It's
you
hard to
are
visualize it
placed.
before it's been built, right? Like for people to
Exactly.
understand, like this is what you're gonna get.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess because we do have like architectural brains, it's easy, but it's not all the clients have it, or your mates. So it's nice to have these spaces that you can just enlarge literally like the entrance of your project, and you understand, okay, this is how big it is. I am
Yeah.
walking to it. VR helps that, like VR is a very helpful tool for that. Like that's
Hmm.
like for scale comparison, it's great. Like I will recommend to use it for that. But we will arrive to the point that it's going to be
Yeah.
obsolete. I am sure.
And I think that there's this really cool relationship with you know, companies like Epic Games who are making real-time technology. They're pushing what's available, like what you can do with it for different industries, right? So like I've talked about Unreal Engine with people in like the, like film industry, VFX, gaming, architecture visualization. And I know it, you can do it for other kinds of visualization, cars and stuff like that. But so they're pushing what you can do for different industries. And it's helping architects and designers with what they can design, I suppose. Like, so people are sort of like, I can design in such a way that, is easier to understand. So do you feel like this relationship between the technology and what's being designed is going to push it forward? I don't know if that's really a question. It's just an interesting thought.
Yeah, I agree. Like
Right.
real like visualization plays a key role in my in like designers' life in general. Like back in the times, or at least I used to work in an architecture practice in Bogota, very very well known architecture practice that they didn't visualize. It was just plans and sections, and
Really? Did they
yeah,
refuse to visualize, like they didn't want to, or they just didn't have like
they
the
didn't have an
budget? Or
in-house visualization. Like they did like outsource the CGIs, but that comes like way later in the
later?
pipeline.
Yeah.
So my role in Heatherwick was to enable like the teams to make design decisions faster, so that you could visualize
Yeah.
it, see, change whatever doesn't work. So yeah, no, for sure, like visualization plays a key role even in my personal projects, to be able to show the client how it's going to look. It plays the project in different scenarios, because we will jump on that. But when I was creating an art installation and we wanted to sell it and place it in another place, we just created different scenarios where to place it, and the client was like, okay, now I understand, it does fit. Like just yeah, being able to create a virtual environment for your project as well is fantastic. Using even Cesium inside Unreal and understanding the scale in the Google Maps. Cesium is
Yeah.
basically a
So
plugin.
CCM is the plugin that brings Google Map basically models real scale buildings with some like basic textures, and it can be as like high res or low res as you want, right?
Correct. So you will have it inside Unreal, and then you will have the whole world inside Unreal, and you can place your project and you will see, like, you can zoom out and understand the scale. For example, in a project, if you are doing a project in New York, that the heights are very important to understand how does it sit in the skyline of the city. I don't know, I love visualization. Like, of
Yeah.
course we need it. Yes, everybody should learn it. And start with Twinmotion because it's very easy.
Yeah, do you feel like, because I started using Twinmotion about a year ago. I was using Unreal Engine before then, and I was sort of working in various companies where they always wanted to get into Unreal Engine, but there's a bit of a steep learning curve. Like you said, you went to like a boot camp to learn, right? So to for one person to use it, they sort of needed everyone to be able to use it, and for everyone to use it, they needed to train everyone, and it was always this like boundary in a way that stopped because they didn't want to put the budget to teach. And then I started using Twinmotion, which is a lot simpler in terms of like click and play, and the fact that it can go into like Unreal Engine if you want to. All the other things like it's a really good middle ground, I guess. I did have a question because I know that like there's Twinmotion, it's great once you start using it. You do find the limitations at some point. And I know that there's like I hear about D5. I haven't actually tried D5 renderer. Have you tried it? It's like kind of a competitor of Twinmotion, I guess. But it does sort of the same kind of it uses Unreal Engine, but it's like a different it's a different platform. Um, I'm wondering if you think Twinmotion is going to like catch up with the capabilities of Unreal Engine, or do you think it's just meant to be simplified and that's why it's easy to use?
So at the when Epic Game bought Twinmotion, it changed completely. Like, I
Mm,
feel that yeah, literally what they did was create a baby of Unreal, and I love
mm,
it. Like, I started as well in Unreal, and then when they bought it, I started using Twinmotion. It was like, okay, this is easy. You can learn it in
mm.
an hour and a half or two, and you can already have a very, very nice, appealing project. So what I did, like in my previous practice, was teach everybody Twinmotion, so that when
Yeah,
they gave me the project for me to export it in, like import it into Unreal, it was an easy workflow.
yeah,
So just the interoperability between those two softwares, and now like Unreal for Fortnite, like it's a very nice pipeline that you can play with. So I do believe that Twinmotion is one of the best rendering tools that anybody can just jump in. It'll- you can use like a lot of materials, like textures and lighting for free. So just the
yeah,
fact that everything is it's very low cost is, oh, I enjoy that a lot. So yeah, you can just as well change the weather conditions, make in landscape. You can make the landscape grow just with a slider, so you can show your
yeah,
project in day zero, because most of the CGIs normally will show a landscape's fully blushed, and that's not real. Like, that's not how the project
yeah.
will be at year
At the
one.
start, yeah,
Exactly. So it's super nice to show the transition of literally the landscape growing, and that if you want to do it in Unreal, or at least for me to do it in Unreal, I will need to have a very deep knowledge in blueprints and etc.
yeah,
So I believe that everybody should start with Twinmotion, and then if
yeah,
they want to take it, and every time Twinmotion is doing very, very incredible updates, like now you
yeah.
can as well have configurators inside Twinmotion. That's amazing. Like, just to
What's
be
a
able,
configurator? I don't know about this.
configurator is basically to create a little app to test out options. So in architecture, like in
Oh,
architecture,
that's a
you
that's a game changer. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
exactly, in architecture you have options for everything, for
Yep.
materials, for objects, for design. So now there's a little tab that you add, like, or options of geometry or options in materiality, and then you toggle between them. So you can show the client,
Mm,
like, this is option with wood, this is an option with metal, and that's it. Like, doing a configurator inside Unreal will, yeah, I for sure will need to hire somebody to help me. So
yeah,
I believe that it's what they're doing, or what I feel that they're doing, is trying to take all of these architectural tools that architects need, because this is a
hmm,
software created for architects by architects, like loving architects. So they're taking the tools that Unreal have for architecture and trying to make them very easy to be able to use them inside Twinmotion.
yeah.
So I don't know D5, but I am so in love with Twinmotion that I don't even want to see it.
Yeah. But I think that's a good point that like because Epic Games bought Twinmotion, so they're actually developing it to work really well with Unreal. And it's true they're coming out with so they're really like pushing like I think that they're coming out with a lot of updates quite quickly. And I think that but I also get your point like the fact that it's so accessible is the point. Maybe it doesn't need to be able like it's cool that they're putting more things in it that you can do, but as long as they keep it easy to do, that's the
Mm.
point. If they make it more and more complicated, they'll start dropping off. Maybe people won't use it as much, right? So
I completely agree, and I think that's the main selling point at this point. Like being easy, super easy UX UI, very intuitive. As soon as
yeah.
you as soon as you want to push your project further, like maybe making in a gameplay or something, you enter into Unreal and you already know, like at least the terminology or foliage. Okay, I know what is foliage now. Foliage is basically
Mm.
painting landscape. So they are mimicking a bit of this like terminology and like way that you do stuff, so that when you
Mm.
want to graduate and make it a bigger project, then it's easier for you to transition into Unreal. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's really
it,
smart. Yeah.
it's
And
a very good pipeline.
yeah. Tell me about your masterclass series for ATN that you did. That was for you were teaching classes in Twinmotion, right?
Correct. So I have been teaching with them quite a few classes. We have a master class in Twinmotion. So click here, go there, go and learn it as well. Like we are now
I'll put
next
links. Yeah,
month.
I'll put links at the bottom.
Next month, we will launch a beginners of foundation course for Unreal Engine. So you can
Mhm.
start with the Twinmotion course and then jump into the foundation, like beginners course in Unreal. And then hopefully we can like proceed and have a bit more of advanced courses and so on. So yeah, like it's a very nice like architectural network. It's a fantastic web page or like company that brings professionals working in architecture to teach their workflow. So it's very
Yeah.
hands-on. Like it's very you are getting what we know, like we are doing in the architecture practice. So that's
Yeah.
like that's a very nice skill to have.
Yeah, and I can tell your enthusiasm and energy probably translates really well because I think it's so nice to be learning from someone who has like enthusiasm for the software and for the capabilities. So like you've used it a lot, you love it, and like that makes you want to learn it a lot, which is cool. So I know we were keeping this till the end, like your project. It was a personal project that you did with Understory, is that right? The Nebula project, Nebula Shroom Grove, which you did an installation for a Burning Man. And you're going to show us some slides, which is amazing. Anyone who's listening to this on audio, I would suggest putting the video on. Otherwise, I'll describe it a little bit. But yeah, do you want to share your screen and describe the project?
Yeah, so that was, I think, a shift in my career, I will say, when I started creating art for myself. So we created Understory Studio, which is yeah, basically a studio that is pushing new ways of, wait one second, I will share my screen, pushing new ways on creating art using new technology as well, to share your emotions connections. As mentioned, this was a project that was made last year for Burning Man, and I'm going to talk a bit more about it. So don't worry if you are not seeing it. I will try to describe it very, very good so that you can as well picture it. So I already introduced myself, but basically, I don't know if you have ever known about Burning Man. But Burning Man is this fantastic event that happens in the middle of the desert in Nevada. 80,000 people go to this event. It's one
Mm,
week event festival they try to celebrate creativity. They try to celebrate self-expression. So yeah, you will see people very weirdly dressed or not, or undressed as well around. So
yeah,
it's a very unique place to be. I will recommend everybody to have this experience. And then
yeah.
the cool part of it is that they celebrate community. So
Mm,
like normally there are 10 principles and there is no money involved. There is like, you need to bring your everything to live for 1 week. So everything
Mm-hmm.
is about community and talking to
Mm-hmm.
new people. And yeah, you can be whoever you want in Burning Man. And then as well, they celebrate art and architecture. And at the end of the week, they burn it. So as well,
Oh,
like,
okay. Yeah.
it's such a different experience to see art or architecture burn. Like normally
Mm.
you will not see this in your
It's
in
permanent. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's super permanent, and or even if it's temporary, you will not burn it or
Yeah, yeah,
see it
yeah.
burn. So thinking about architecture and how it burns as well is like other sorts of I don't know, conversations that you have with yourself in your brain. And then
Yeah.
you are in the middle of the desert, as mentioned, with yeah, a bunch of crazy people. So now what we wanted to create is Nebula Shroom Groove. So we were awarded for, we won the honoraria grant as the
Mm.
first Latin woman to win and bring art to Playa. So
That's
that's what,
amazing. And you made it with three women, right?
correct. So it was my partner, Lina and Ana. We are
Mm-hmm.
all Colombians. And we presented the project, we won, and then like the journey started last year. My journey was pretty crazy, and then everything started, like the concept started with feeling alone. I don't know if you have ever felt alone. I have felt alone. And
Yeah.
in Colombia, when you feel alone, you say that you feel like a mushroom. You are lonely as a mushroom. So basically
Mm.
what we wanted to create was a space that talked about loneliness. And sadly, loneliness have quite a lot of negative consequences in the long term. So increase of risk of depression, mental health issues, increase the risk of premature death, and yeah, it increase the risk of dementia. In the UK, at least 60% of the people have said that they have felt lonely, and in the States, 50%. So it is
Yeah.
something that we should be talking about.
Yeah.
So we were create like what we wanted to create this inclusive space that promotes social connection and celebrate community. So basically, what we did was create one mushroom. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so this as well, very mushroom potty like a version of our architecture piece. Then from this mushroom, we gave the mushroom company. So, and
Mm-hmm.
then this company basically, we created a group of mushrooms that support each other.
Mm.
So that's when like Nebula happened. Everything
Yeah.
was running Unreal. Like we wanted to create this fantastic space that you could just jump inside of the mushrooms, have different as well circumference in the mushrooms so that you could have different sort of connections with people. In the big
Mm.
mushroom, 30 people could fit. In the small one, it could be just you having a meditation session. As
Mm.
well in
And they're
Burning Man
like
is
these little
very
pods. They're like these like raised pods that people can sit inside at the top, right? Just been sort of
correct.
trying to
And
describe, yeah, if you're not watching.
correct. As well, please try to go and watch the video. They're very cool pods.
Yeah.
Then like it was, I think it was the best combination of having architecture, public art, sculpture,
Mm.
community, crowdfunding, winning the honoraria, but then the crazy part, and seriously, this is like, I don't know if you have ever had to do it, but crowdfunding was very difficult. Burning Man gave
Right.
us just a percentage of how much it was like thank you Burning Man for giving us something, but then the rest we needed to crowdfund. So
Yeah.
visualization played a key role. That's what we were talking
Mm.
about, right? So we
Yeah.
did use Unreal, Twinmotion. We used the plugin of Datasmith, that basically it's a plugin that connects Rhino, the 3D software that we use to model it, inside Twinmotion and Unreal, so that we could do very easy changes and then see them visually immediately in the real-time rendering software. We
Mm.
use as well DMX. So basically, this is
Mm-hmm.
a plugin inside Unreal that will test out lighting, because yeah,
Oh, that's very cool.
in the desert there is no light. Like you need to bring your
Yeah.
own light. So the art piece need to have light. Like we needed to put light inside, and we were like,
Yeah.
yeah, we want to celebrate the structure. Let's just put in each of the panels LED, and yeah, like let's do it. And then we realized that that was the most expensive thing. So yeah, then value engineering happens, and then as
Wow. So
well we
how did you
create.
do the lighting?
You will see in a second. And then we created as well. We use pixel streaming to be able to
Mm-hmm.
just send a link to future investors to be able to visualize the project in their own spaces. So that's when I was saying that you can place the project inside a park in the middle of Colombia
Mm-hmm.
because we wanted to create, like we wanted to bring it back to Colombia, but
Yeah.
then we didn't realize how expensive that was.
Oh, I see.
Eh,
Yeah, to ship the pieces.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and then after a lot of help from friends and family and a lot of t-shirts sold. So I was this person that was going along with my friends, like, do you want a t-shirt? Do you want to donate? And then like a lot of help, we managed to make it real. So we managed to make
Amazing.
half of it. So like we created very smartly because they are a group of mushrooms, like clusters of mushrooms. So when we didn't have the whole money, then we just did 2 clusters instead of 4 clusters of mushrooms. So
Mm-hmm.
we brought to Playa 9 mushrooms in general, in total,
Mm-hmm.
sorry. We ended up going to this fantastic workshop in California in the middle of a mountain. That was just, yeah, it was very beautiful. I didn't understand how we were there. And then
Mm.
we had our own little space where we needed to have a CNC machine because all of the pieces, they're round as mushrooms, so we needed to cut it with a specific tool. And then we did have Rusty, our little furry friend, that
Oh,
was there with us for the whole month. I was there, like in the mountains of California, for a month, building it with my own hands.
wow,
I had
that's so
never
cool.
used a hammer before. Like, this is how
Yeah,
crazy
yeah,
we
yeah.
were. We didn't have
Yeah.
money to like hire a bunch of people, so we were ourselves in the workshop building
That
our
looks
own
so fun.
creation. So
Yeah,
yeah,
amazing.
that was very fun. That was very fun. We used Grasshopper a lot, so big shout to
Mm-hmm.
studio that helped us with all of the Grasshopper script. Everything was coded because it was a very it looks very easy, but it was a very complex model to be able to build it from the bottom to the top. So we had to export everything from a Grasshopper, even the
Mm-hmm.
plans for building it, and then using CSC machine and being able to work with friends and family there day and night and create these mushrooms. The small mushroom, like the smallest one, was 250 kilos. So
Oh,
I
so they're
could
super
not
heavy.
move it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
could not
yeah, yeah.
move
Did
it.
you how did you do it? Did you have to get machines or did you get lots of people?
So we were using these sort of cranes
Mm.
that were the ones that help us move. Like thank God thank God for D2B, that the workshop that had all of the
Mm-hmm.
machinery. But then we were like,
Amazing.
okay, now we need to take it to the desert. Like, how on earth we're
Yeah.
gonna take this to the desert? We didn't think about the way like we were like the big mushroom had 3 meters in diameter, and we didn't realize that we could not move 3 meters in diameter in a truck because it will hit
Oh.
like all of the bridges or the tunnels. So we need to
Oh.
think about a way how to still assemble, like pre-assemble it in the workshop, but then being able to transport it to the
Yeah.
desert.
Yeah.
So that was a crazy experience. And then as well, in the desert, we didn't have any sort of technology. So we use Speckle quite a lot, this software that you can just have in your phone and be able to correlate. In this case, we use it for correlated what came in the truck and then how to
Mm-hmm.
assemble it in the desert.
Oh,
So
amazing. Yeah.
we head into the desert, and then the mushrooms start arriving, and this was like the moment that I start crying, of course, of happiness. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that they were going to arrive. We arrived in the middle of a sandstorm, so we took a very nice team of people as well, that good enough. Like, it was nice because they were very excited, but it was not that nice because they were all virgin and they had never been to Burning Man. So it
Oh,
was like
can I
this
ask you a
shocking.
question?
Yeah,
How
sure,
how
sure.
does the electricity work? Is there electricity? I mean, did you have to bring in
Exactly.
like
So you
power
like
batteries?
yeah. So we got a solar panel like generator that we
Generator,
needed
yeah.
to clean because there are sandstorms. So we needed to clean every day so that the sun
Yeah.
hits and make energy. And then the solar panel, I think in the next slide, you can see it a bit like further out. Like, it needs to be at least 10 meters out from the site.
Yep.
And then everything needs to be illuminated, from the solar panel to the, like when we were constructing on site as well, like people are going in bicycles and they don't have, like, you will bring your own light. So if the bicycle doesn't have a light, will not see, like you can just like crash into things. So you need to illuminate everything quite a lot. And then we use solar panels, and then we use LEDs to project from the bottom up. So I will show you in a second how we do it, how we did it.
Wow.
And then this was this fantastic team of virgins that were helping us in Burning Man. And
had you been to Burning Man before?
Yeah, so we went the year before, and we did apply to do an art grant as well, but they said no, because I feel that what we were proposing was a massive temple, like it's not a small installation. It was like super massive sculpture. Like I understand what they say, no, and thank God they did, because it was as I had already been to Burning Man, but if we had all been new, we will have been running like headless chickens. Like it's just impossible. You need somebody that already knows what a sandstorm is, already knows how to prepare for it, how to cook in very hard conditions. Like you need to be calm. Like my role was to be a calm mother and to relax everybody, and then as well to make sure that they had fun, because we had to be 1 week before in the desert to create the art piece, and then 1 week of partying. So
yeah.
so
This is an amazing picture. Everyone should go and have a look at the visual just to see this beautiful still. Is that real or is that CGI, this one?
This is real. So now we brought it to life. We took Christina, a very nice photographer, and she was the one like in charge of all of these fantastic views, like photos. So we wanted to create this escalating moment that includes, like, it was available for everybody, for kids, for grown up, like doesn't matter how high you were, like height, sorry, how tall
you
you
are.
were.
Yeah.
Sorry. And then or if you if you it doesn't matter, like it was very accessible for everybody, and still have the sort of clustering inside a mushroom experience. And then you can see this sort of cinematic and very, very rustic and dusty image, full of dust. Like you can see as well the light, the bikes, that's the way of transportation around Burning Man, and trying to celebrate, like, this was the team of Ukrainians, Colombians, Spanish people just having fun. As soon as we managed to place the last carpet, because we were using like we were putting carpets on the top of the mushroom so that it felt a bit more comfortable and comfy. And then that's how we, like, because we value engineer and we didn't have the money to be able to illuminate all of the structure and celebrate it, that we wanted to do that. What we did was create an LED, like place an LED light inside, which was, we could change in our phone. So it was like we could change the tonalities of
that's so cool.
Of the lights. And then you can see here in the left, there is an art car. Basically, the art cars are the DJ sets. Like it's an art installation that has wheels and have a DJ and speaker set. So basically, the art cars will be moving around the whole Burning Man and will be sitting next to the art installations, and they will start doing the party. So the art installation that you bring to Burning Man, they cannot have sound. The sound comes from the art cars. So it was very nice for us to be able to mimic the color of the art cars with Nebula. So that was incredible. There were so many art cars just passing around, and then us just having a lot of fun and being very, very happy. People were just climbing on top of the mushrooms. They were as well doing weddings. This is a picture of a red wedding. Everybody's dressed in red.
You had a wedding on your art piece? That's so amazing.
I didn't. This was something.
No, someone did. Yeah.
Exactly, but it's crazy, because as soon as we went outside of to the default world, that's how they call it, like outside of Burning Man, because you don't have connection there, so you don't know what's happening. You don't have your phone, whatever. And then as like things just they kept tagging us in these sort of events that happened, but we didn't know that they happened. So there was as well
Wow.
a super nice and queer wedding there, and then they were as
That's
well
so
doing
beautiful.
parkour in the mushrooms. They were doing static dance events in the right at sunrise. So yeah, this was like a
Wait,
whole
so
new experience for me.
that's amazing. Wait, so you could leave Burning Man for times, right? Like you could leave and come back.
You could, but not really. Like I mean that when we after the event, as soon as
Mm.
you are like you get to shower and go back to
Hmm.
normality, and then you enter into your socials. These were the type of tags that we were having in our social media. Like, yeah, we
Oh,
were doing
oh,
parkour in your structure. We were doing a wedding in your structure. So
that's
that
so
was
cool to see people using your art installation, like using it for different things that you like hadn't even planned. That must have been an
exactly.
amazing feeling. Wait, so did you leave the sculpture there or did it get burnt
So
afterwards?
so we did get celebrated like in quite a lot of
Mm.
art daily and nice architecture spaces. I'm not gonna show
Yep.
this video, but then yeah, like for like big shout out to all of the team that make this happen.
Mm.
Like amazing. And then we did manage to have an afterlife because we
Mm.
believed that we didn't want to burn it, but either it was very easy to sell, so we just donated to the Second Sky Foundation in Tucson, in Arizona,
Mm.
which is basically a community where kids go to learn and play and understand science and technology, and that's where Nebula is living now. So if you want to
Wow.
see it, it's in Arizona, and hopefully eventually as well we can bring more art and create more art installations in Playa or outside Playa. Like that's when my everything changed in my life. Like that's when I created like Understory. And yeah, follow us in social media if you want to.
Yeah, I'll put links. I'll put links in there. Thank you so much for showing us that project. I mean, that looks incredible. And I love that it's still living as well. Like it's like you made something that is like a living uh project in a way because
True, and it has
it's still there.
heritage, but in another place. I don't know how to explain it because normally architecture is
Yeah.
very static, and then it's very
Yeah.
nice. The like, I don't know, the history is like it goes with you, and then of
Yep.
course, like the wood has already been used, and it was already full of dust. So the Arizona version now, it has
Mhm.
scratches, and I like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so cool. That's amazing. Amazing. I'm definitely going to put some links in the like in the notes of the podcast so anyone can take a look and watch the video if you didn't see it. But that's I mean, congratulations for doing that. I can't wait to see the next one you make. Do you think you're going to do another one?
Hopefully. Let's
Yeah.
I needed to give it like a year of like off, I would
Calm.
say, and
Yeah.
maybe go to Burning Man and have fun, like relax, because even if you bring art, or at least the first time that you bring art, you are a bit like you need to organize 15 people, you need to give them
Mm.
food, they need to be okay, they need to be having fun. Like it's quite a lot. So I think this
Yeah.
year I will go by myself and just relax and have
Just
fun.
enjoy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. Just one final thing to talk about before you leave. What's one of your like ideal projects that you'd love to do, maybe with Understory?
So I do have the vision of creating a bigger structure in Burning Man. Like I
Yeah.
am madly in love with this concept of this festival, and there are two main structures in Burning Man that are or you are invited to be able to be part of it, or you apply for it. So there is
Mm.
the temple that is the biggest place that you will go, and the last thing that it burns, but is where you go and remember your loved ones that have died, or something like or you want to
Mm.
remember something that you have lost. And this
Yeah.
space is so unique because if you are in the middle of the desert, like in an event as big as 80,000 people, and there is a lot of sound, blah blah blah, and when you arrive to the temple, it's silence, and people are like
Yeah.
quiet, crying, remembering, like praying, and then this is the last burn. So basically, the Sunday, when the event finishes, everybody goes home after this burn. But is the moment of silence. People are just holding hands, crying,
Yeah,
understanding that as well. Like you were having fun for a week and now it ends.
it's
So
finished. Yeah.
it's this like culmination moment that I will like I really really want to be able to do the temple.
Yeah.
So maybe next year I will try to work for that. But of course, this will be like a lot of work, and let's see what's happening. So, but as well, I will wish to create art installations in places that are a bit more accessible because
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I wanted to take my mom, and my mom was like, I don't think I'm gonna go to Burning Man. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yes, mother, like, let's take that as well. And you go in a camper van, you will have fun, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, maybe I'm too old, but I will wish to see like what you create. So hopefully, yeah, maybe, I don't
You
know.
can make something that you could take your mum and dad to.
Yeah, I will wish to have some, yeah, art placed in Europe or something like that, a bit more accessible for them.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to see it, and I hope that you document it. And I look forward to like playing with your Burning Man thing in Fortnite if you put it in there too.
Hopefully, yes. So, yeah, thank you very much, Michelle.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's been really interesting, Sylvia. And yeah, I'll catch up with you soon. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
That was another episode of Inflection Point Conversations. Thank you so much for joining, for listening, and thank you to Sylvia for coming on and talking through different projects and showing her Burning Man project. That was really cool to watch. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe and follow. Share it with anyone you think might find it interesting, and go back and listen and watch to previous episodes. We have over 35 episodes now with really cool people. Until then, see you in 2 weeks. Bye.